Blanca Duran is a teacher education student at Brock University. She has a passion for working with children and is very excited about this new journey in her life. Through the creation of this personal literacy story, she hopes to share how having a strong family foundation can influence your love for literacy. Blanca is from Mexico City. When she was in grade 8, she moved along with her parents and sister to a very small town in New Brunswick. When moving to Canada, her English wasn't good. She couldn't understand when people talked to her, and part of it was because she felt so overwhelmed with the big change of language, country, and culture. Blanca's literacy story has been a bit of a roller coaster ride. During my childhood, I spent most of my time with my grandparents. They were both elementary school teachers for over 30 years. I've always looked up to them as they have a big passion for reading and writing. Let's talk about my grandma. She has always been a person to write everything down. She enjoyed keeping track and record of things and writing it all on her notebook. I also had my notebooks, which I used as journals so I could sit down and write with her. Now my grandpa, he's a book lover, always reading and telling me how important it is to read. My grandparents had plenty of books at their house and I loved going through all of them. My grandpa encouraged me to read so much. He liked to take me to a Gandhi bookstore on a regular basis so I could choose some books. Every day, my grandpa sat down for some period of time and read his books, so I would enjoy sitting with him to read my own book. I basically got my love for writing from my grandma and my love for reading from my grandpa. They always encouraged me to read, write, and to never give up on myself. High school was a big struggle for me. When I was in grade 9, I would have been in Canada for 10 months. And my English wasn't close to being perfect. My grade 9 teacher told me that she didn't think I'd be able to pass her class, as I was already failing most of my writing assignments. She said my English wasn't strong enough in order for me to pass her class, so she suggested that I enroll to that easier English class that they offered. Her comments really discouraged me, but I really needed this course to go to university, so I decided to stay in her class. It was a very challenging year, but I was able to pass the class. I was very thankful to be able to look back at my beliefs and strong encouragement that I received from my family when I was younger in order to overcome my unpleasant experience from grade 9. In grade 10, I had to choose one elective, and I chose a writing class for 2 reasons. First reason, I knew it would be in the computer lab, and second reason is that I wanted to give myself the chance to improve my writing skills, and I didn't want to give up on myself, just like my grandpa always encouraged me. At first, I was nervous to take this course because of my unpleasant experience in grade 9, but I pushed myself to take it to remind me of my love for writing. This class took place in the computer lab, which made it fun. Being able to use a computer was engaging for me because we were given an hour to type about any topic that we wanted. This is the stage when I went back up on my roller coaster ride. Here's when I was able to demonstrate again my love for literacy. How? I was now enrolled in a program that I chose and that I loved, enjoying all of my readings because they're now preparing me for my future career. By reflecting on my history, experiences, and beliefs, it allowed me to figure out what I want to see in my future practice. Something I want to implement with my future students is to allow them to have choice. Let them choose what they want to read. If I force them to read specific texts, they may lose that spark and interest for reading. I also want to allow them to choose topics they want to write about, express themselves through writing. And something I never want to do is to discourage my students' writing. I believe they all have the potential to learn literacy skills and to improve them. I also want to give them a choice of tools for reading and writing. They can choose to read an ebook at times or use Google Docs to complete a summary of a favorite chapter. As a teacher, I want to make sure that all students are engaged in learning. All students have the potential to develop a love and passion for literacy. In our AP 34 class, I've learned so many strategies already that are so helpful when it comes to involving students with different skills and different learning styles. As a teacher, it's so important to get to know your students. As I previously mentioned, I felt more motivated when I went to the computer lab during writing class. It made it more fun and engaging. Now that we're in the 21st century, it's so important to be aware and consider that most of our students are now exposed to digital devices and tools. As a teacher, this is something that I want to take advantage of because based on my experiences working with children, I've noticed that they're very engaged in learning when they're using appropriate digital tools at the appropriate times. Ernest Morel mentioned in his text, it is our job as teachers to make sure that we're implementing the 21st century literacy digital tools that are available for educational purposes without abandoning our traditional literacies which have been around for centuries. One of the practices that I would like to adopt with my students is to have a balance between digital and traditional tools. A tool that I would enjoy using with my students is Flipgrid, as it is fun and engaging. It allows students to recommend books to their peers by giving a brief summary of the text they've read through a video. It's a great way to encourage and motivate your students to keep reading because even if you have a student who are not 100% book lovers, they'll be motivated to share their summary on Flipgrid. To conclude my story, I became the literate I am today thanks to having a strong foundation, my family. Growing up surrounded by books, always looking up to my grandparents, and taking on their cues really encouraged me to want to read and write. Thank you for watching, and I hope you enjoyed my story.